Hey, everybody, welcome back to part two of the hip recovery movement session. Okay, so first part, we talked about posture, shoulder openers, spine. We really worked on opening up the chest muscles, engaging the upper back muscles, which is going to help you with posture as you start walking again, so that your shoulders are over your hips, you're not leaning forward. It's really easy when we're in those initial weeks of recovery that we're holding onto the walker, we're crouched over, we're terrified, but let's start pulling shoulders over hips and getting a little bit stronger. So we talked about rolling the shoulders up, down, and back, just to open up the chest. Okay, this is going to help not only our posture, but we're going to get more oxygen because our lungs are going to be able to fully inflate, which is going to help our brain. It's going to help our thoughts. It's going to help us feel better. And we talked about moving the arms and getting really some mobility in the shoulders, again, helping posture. So continue with part one, continue those six directions of the spine, continue moving all six directions every single day. And then we're going to come into just starting to think about our beautiful hips. Okay. So my affected leg is my left leg. So we're going to start with the unaffected leg, which would be my right and might be your left. And the first thing we're going to do is just start to swing some external opening of the hip. It's going to get scary when we use our affected leg, but stick with me. So I'm just allowing the hip to fall and then engaging the inner thigh to pull it back up. Super soft, okay? Not a ton, just a little bit here. Four more, okay? Just starting to feel that hip flexor. We can do this. Two more. Last one, and then return. Now, the affected leg, gentle. Okay, you can use your hands to support it. So here, if you recall, I am months out and I'm just now starting to get my glute muscle to fire a little bit to open that leg. So I'm allowing it to drift and then I'm squeezing my inner thigh to pull it back. Squeeze the cheek, squeeze the inner leg. It's hard. Okay, so my hip flexor's kind of cranky and tight. If you're just weeks out, just barely. So we're thinking about that ball and socket, right? That new, beautiful titanium ball, ceramic ball, whatever material you have. We're allowing it to just move within that pelvis, move within that cup. Okay, so just super small. Let's do four more, three more, two more. Last one, and then return. From my physical therapy, there was a lot of work on engagement of the glutes, the hamstrings, everything. So we're going to do some heel slides because I do think they're really good. Remember, this is just four parts. This is to complement your physical therapy rehab, your doctor's instructions. It's just sort of a holistic, yummy yoga and Pilates version of how to engage the body. So I'm going to take my unaffected leg and I'm going to shoot it straight out. My toes are up. Okay. All I'm going to do, make sure you're on a nice slippery surface. So you're going to pull the leg in, back to a bent knee, and then slide the heel out. If you're on carpet, it can be a little bit hard. So you can put a piece of paper and just push and then pull. It's like your leg is a lever. Push the heel, pull the heel. Feel a little bit of engagement in the belly. Feel that? Three more. Tiny little. That's what we're trying to target, is the strong whole body. Come back and let's try the affected leg. So I'm going to pick mine up to start and straighten it. The heel comes down. Now I'm going to pull the knee in, push. That's hard. Push the heel out. Pull the knee in, push the heel out. Now, I am a believer in a lot of touch to help the body kind of feel what it needs to feel. So I have my hands on my affected leg and I'm giving it a little assistance. We'll talk about this. Two more. Okay. One more. Come back to neutral. When in the yoga world, when we're thinking about standing on one leg, doesn't mean anything magical happens when you can do it, but it's something that we do to really bring mindfulness to what we're doing, also to really engage the body. So as we're doing this, if we are lifting one leg in a yoga practice and we're flailing and wobbling, well, we're essentially teaching our brain that's what we want to be doing, flailing and wobbling. If we utilize a railing, a chair, a wall, and we stabilize the body, then we're teaching the brain that's what we want it to do, right? And so then in time, you can lessen the grip on the railing, the chair, the wall, and pretty soon you have stability. The same holds true for this hip movement. What do we want this affected leg to be doing? I want it to be opening and closing. So I'm going to use my hands not to push and be violent and, force anything, but just to guide it. Same with the heel slides. I'm going to hold on to my leg. I'm going to use my hands to help this motion. That's a whole body connection. I'm helping versus forcing. And I know that maybe you've been in the gym and maybe you've been in physical therapy yourself and you force things. Well, when we come up against force, there's always resistance. So if we could turn the dial just a little bit in our beautiful brains and say, okay, rather than forcing my body to open, I'm going to encourage it to open. I'm going to welcome it. I'm going to teach it what I want it to do versus forcing it. And if you've ever had children or you've ever been in a relationship, forcing anything onto anybody comes back with resistance. But if you encourage, guide, welcome, invite, maybe there's a little bit more fluidity there. So now we have the tall spine, shoulders back and down, opening up the chest. We've moved our spine. We've got a little juiciness happening in the legs. Let's try both. Okay, open and close. So the right leg is my unaffected leg. It really wants to go. My left, not so much. That's okay. I'm going to use my hands just to do a little guiding, right? Just a little guiding. Of course, my right leg doesn't need any encouragement. It's ready to roll, but I'm just inviting this leg, hey, it's okay. It is okay to move this way. 2 more. Last one, and now we're just going to come to some heel lifts. We're going to do this seated. Part 3, we're going to do a little bit of standing work. So we're going to just lift up the heels. This engages the calves and lower them. Lift and lower. I want you to focus on the tummy, the space between the belly button and the pubic bone. Squeeze right there as you lift your heels. Squeeze, okay? Firing up the belly just a little bit. Squeeze, almost like we're tucking the pelvis. If you're a female, you know the whole term Kegel. Squeeze. If you're a dude, you might not know what that means, but we're just engaging that bladder area muscles. Okay, we need all of these muscles in our whole body to get us mobile again. 2 more. Squeeze. Now this time we're going to hold it up there. So we have our little high heels on. Heels are lifted, pressing into the toes. Now we're just going to flutter those legs. Okay, so it feels a little bit different with the heels up versus the heels down. 3 more. 2 more. Last one, return, lower your heels. Last little bit of this external fluttering. We're going to take the legs wide. Right leg can go easily. Left leg, I'm going to pick it up, gently set it down. Readjust. I'm just on a metal folding chair. You can be doing this on a couch, a bed, an easy chair, a metal chair like me. So now my legs are wide. If you're just a few weeks out, you're going to look very different. You might just be here. Okay, so do what your physician and PT is guiding you to do, but this is just another layer as you continue to heal. So again, my left leg doesn't like this. It doesn't want to do it. It's not painful. It just wants to stay in neutral. It's been in neutral for 5.5 months. So I'm going to gently invite it, not push it, to open. Okay, now that my legs are open, I'm going to do a little bit of fluttering to engage the glutes. So squeeze back here, squeeze the buns. All I'm doing is squeezing the buns. I'm not swinging from the hip. This is swinging. That is squeezing. Squeeze the buns. Squeeze. When we have hip surgery, All of the muscles around that affected joint just say, we're done, we're sleeping. Takes a long time to get those muscles fired again. I've had 5 surgeries on my left hip. So my glutes have shut down 5 times, and I'm just now starting to get that squeeze to happen again. All right, 5 more squeezes. Squeeze hard. Squeeze, clench those little peaches back there. 3 more. This is a little bit of that Pilates flair to things. Hold here. Last movement, part 2. Lift your heels like you have those little high heels on. Squeeze the buns. Squeeze the buns. Right there. 5, 4, gauge the belly. 2 more. Last one, hold here. Keep your high heels on. Keep the cheeks clenched. Take a breath and lower everything. Bring your legs back. That's part 2. Okay. So starting to fire up the belly, core, the buns, the inner thighs. Stay with me. There's a method to this. I'm excited about it. This is how I have returned to life 5 times. Okay. The whole body approach. So I will see you in part 3 coming up. Be ready to do some standing work. So we're going to need a chair, something to hold on to, a railing, a wall, a couch, a countertop, a kitchen sink, doesn't matter. You do a little bit of standing work. We're getting there. Continue with part 1. Keep doing your spine work. Continue with part 2. Keep opening and closing the hips, squeezing the buns, engaging the belly. And I will see you for part 3. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. It's going to be good. I promise. You're doing amazing work.